All good.
And we are live. Welcome everyone. We have David here. How are you, David?
Doing wonderful, sir. How are you?
I'm also doing great. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
David is a referee from, you want to kind of like introduce yourself, where you're from, where I found you?
Absolutely. I actually put together a few slides. I'll give people a little bit of a background of who I am and what I do. Let me just go ahead and pull that up right here for you.
Yes.
I know I've got a number of things up here, but hang on. And I'm going to just give people a little bit of a background of what I am and what I do. So let's do this here. Let's go
Awesome.
entire screen and share. And let me go ahead and launch this. Are you seeing on your side, Justin?
Yes, I see everything.
Wonderful. Excellent. So for those who do not know, I am the creator behind the brand RefsNeedLoveToo. We have about 165, well, if you add all channels together, about 170,000 followers around the world. And I am a referee. So when I'm not here creating content like Justin or working my full-time job, I am on the pitch and I'm reffing, 4 or 5 games every single weekend. Here in America, I ref generally the highest levels of youth academy games, so what we would call MLS Next, which is the professional academies and their academies. And then I do the 3rd and 4th tiers of semi-professional American soccer or football, what we know around the world. But that is, what kind of brings me here. I started being what we'd call soccer, you would all call football around the world, referee about 9 years ago, and I've done over 1,000 matches. And I started as a football referee. I was a rugby referee when I was young. I played university rugby here in America and was a ref then, but I got into football as a referee when my son wanted to be a referee, and we refed over probably 400, 500 games together, and he has just now gone off to university, but we always loved working together, and it was a lot of fun. My daughter is more of a gymnast and like a diver and stuff like that, not really a soccer player. But the way this channel actually started is about 2.5 years ago. Oh my gosh, almost 3 years ago now. Can't believe it's that long. But my wife put on my ref outfit for a movie she was filming. She needed a generic costume, and she did a funny, I was like, show me, offside, show me, ball in or out, it was like funny stuff. And I put it onto TikTok, and it wound up going like viral, like 500,000 views. And then I started doing some I'm going to do some other funny videos. And so I started doing like these referee, what I would say on the pitch that I can't say. And I made like these like jokes about what I hear from parents and stuff, like all these funny things.
Yeah.
And so then, I just started doing more like about laws of the game and trying to recruit people to be a referee. But very early on in the channel, because I didn't even have really a name for the channel, very early on, I was like starting to do these videos like, hey, how to become a referee. And people were asking me for advice. People were asking me how to deal with an angry coach. And then I also started, people were asking me to address referee assault and abuse. Yeah. And what do you do when people say like racist comments? And so that's really a lot of what I do in my channel. So like, yes, I do laws of the game analysis, and I talk about, what it's like being a ref, to humanize the ref, for people to understand what we think about and what we go through to be a referee and the ref's perspective. And I know we're going to talk about some of that today. But really importantly, being a support for referees all around the world who rarely, if ever, get love while they are doing their job. And then afterwards, it sticks with you. When you've been threatened, when people have yelled things at you during the game, you're always constantly wondering, why am I doing this? Am I doing the right thing? Yeah. So I've really tried to become a support for referees all around the world, and to help humanize the referee for fans of the beautiful game all around the world.
Awesome, man. Well, a lot of experience, a good cause. I like it. So well done, man. So
cool. Thank you.
The main topic that we're going to talk about today is the World Cup rigged? Did Messi rig it? Did he pay the referees a lot of money to make sure he won the World Cup? I think you are the perfect person to kind of help us figure out the truth. But first, I asked my community to ask you a few questions as a referee.
Yep, it's great.
So I'm just going to go into them. The first question is from Messi's girlfriend, Antonella, on Discord. can you share a funny or unusual incident that has happened during a match in which you were the referee?
Totally, no problem. So I don't normally do very low level matches, but the lowest level match that I will do are for what we would call middle school kids here in America. So they are kids that are between like 10, 11, 12 years old, and then they have a school team. So this is not an academy, not a club. And I was reffing one of these games. It pays really well, actually, and it's usually low pressure. It's during the week. It's fun. Yeah. So I'm out there, and a ball is being played up the pitch, and this is a really weird system. In America, for school matches, they do 2 referees, not 1, not 3, okay, with like a club linesman or like assistant referees, 2 refs. So there's one on one side, one on the other, and you are responsible for the offside line and like that half of the field. So you're never like always on the second to last defender. So a ball is played up onto like the attacking half of the pitch, and I see a player that I think is standing in an offside position receive the ball. And so I raise my arm, blow the whistle, beep, and some kid behind me screams, "How much is the other team paying you?" Like somehow I made a call against his team, like he's obvious offside. And so I turn around and the mother is like, "Oh, you didn't mean to." Like, like I gave him the evil eye. But as I turn back to the field, there's a kid on the defending team who's literally hanging out with the goalkeeper, like standing next to the goalkeeper, like 30 yards away, that was playing this kid onside. So it's like, it was like 2 things. It's like, obviously I made the right call. I thought I was doing the right thing, but then I get heckled by like a 10-year-old kid, like sitting 5 feet behind me, screaming at me. I'm like, my gosh. So, I mean, I've had, moments where I've made mistakes. I mean, we've had, phony moments in the field. I think it's just so important as a referee to be a really good referee. You have to have a sense of humor. You have to be able to laugh off situations like that. And you also have to be a big enough man to say, "Yo, my bad. I made a mistake, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to give a drop ball. I'm sorry."
I think that's difficult.
If you are humble, you will be much more appreciated on the pitch. If you act like you can never make a mistake, people are going to hate you.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like sometimes it's like it's gonna be difficult if you did make the mistake and you know that the people will like get mad at you. But it's like good to hear it from you that that's the most important way to be. I've had a lot of times I've played football since I was like 4 years old, where you just want to kind of like tell the referee like, "Hey, this is what's going on," and they just like shut up, kind of thing. And that's the worst. And then you are gonna like get angry at them.
No, I don't like that. If someone comes to me like respectfully and says, "Hey man, that guy's pulling my jersey," or "Hey man, that guy's stepping on," I actually had that. I had a player come up to me and he's like, "Listen, on kick, like free kicks, this guy is stepping on my heels, like stepping on my Achilles." And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't see it, but I'll look for it." And wouldn't you know, next time down, that guy is standing behind that player and he's like taking his cleats, like his boots, and he's stepping down on that guy's heel. And it wasn't like awful, like a lunging tackle red card, but I immediately carded that kid, and it was a kick coming out. It was ridiculous. So I think it's so important for referees to be open and listen. If someone's coming to you with respect and they're talking to you in a calm tone of voice, bring it. Like all day long. If you come at me yelling at me, it's gonna be like, settle down.
The poll,
I'm not listening to that. Like, let's move on.
Like the poll for Argentina that you wouldn't like accept that. have you seen how he? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's question 1. Question 2 is from, let's see, Trent Alexander Arnold. Okay. It's also in the community. Yep. He says, have you ever favored a team in a match, like not giving fouls, etc.? And what do you feel like about people that do like have done this in professional games, or maybe you have ever seen that this happened in your lifetime as referee?
So this is a really interesting question. And so one of the 4 main tenets of being a great referee is you have to have courage, you need to have knowledge of the game, and you need to have a love of the game, a passion for the game, know the game. But the 4th tenet is having integrity. So I don't care who wins or loses a match when I show up. And the insinuation that, you're favoring the other team is ridiculous. And for any of the referees at the highest level, I think this is why this is news, is because it is so unbelievably rare to have these situations where someone is actually being paid off or rigged or something like that. It's just not a common thing at all. But I do want to say one thing, and this kind of leads us into some of the questions that we have, that as a referee, there is something part of being a great referee where you are trying to make sure that the game is fair, and a foul that you may call one direction, you may not necessarily call the other direction. If a team is already up 7-0, and we're in the 80th minute of the match, and there's a little foul, little bump, little charge, whatnot, and they were in their attacking half, whatnot, and I would have called that at the beginning of the match, I'm probably not going to call it in the 80th. If a team goes down and they're like a player or two players down in a red card, you may see a referee be a little bit more lenient with them just to try and keep them in the match so that the tensions don't boil over. I mean, I will tell you, red cards and yellow cards are...
Calm down.
I've got cards.
Calm down. Not yet.
I know. But I will just tell you, these are match control devices. So, sometimes a foul... could be at a point in a match where maybe the foul was not so egregious, but it's after I had just warned everyone and tensions were high. I might have to throw a yellow to calm everyone down. Maybe there's a time in the match where that foul might have been a yellow card. It was like a stopping promising attack, but they kick someone's legs out. I may have to go red card just to keep the peace. So I think sometimes you'll see things where people are like, well, that ref is favoring that team, or why aren't you being consistent? It's because sometimes a really good referee needs to manage the match and manage to the moment.
Use some common sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Law 18, the law of common sense. Yes, sir.
Awesome to hear that. All right. Well, then we first go into some plays.
Yes.
So now we have kind of learned about how you think about things, but now we also want to know your actual game knowledge. So the first one is a question by Kaka, also in the community somehow. If you look at the, I'm not gonna try and pronounce this, Gremio game from Monday, at the end there's a handball, but the VAR just said it was a natural hand and cancelled the penalty. I've seen the same type of handball be penalties and not penalties. Was it a pen or not? And I'm also gonna grab a picture really quick for you all.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. I'm gonna go ahead and just start talking about a handball while you're pulling that up. Can I just say that as a referee, the laws of the game make handball extremely difficult to enforce. And one thing that fans are always looking for is they want consistency. Well, let me tell you, every single play and every single player in every single play is always different. The speed, the distance, the angles, the situation, the angle of the referee in relation to all of those things that are happening. There are no two games and no two plays that are exactly alike. And so in the laws of the game, they don't give us like beautiful pictures that say, okay, if the hands are here, it's a handball. They don't. They just say a handball could be enforced if it's below the armpit. But they also say things about, did they move their hand towards the ball? Was the arm in a natural position? Did they make their body unnaturally bigger? And those things are all part of the consideration for a referee. So if I see someone with their hands up here and the ball is coming at them quickly, all right, and they're like jumping and it's a natural movement and the ball hits up here, well, that might not be a handball situation. It might not be called a handball on the day. But let's turn their body. Let's say they're here, okay? And so now the ball is coming by them and their hands are in the same position, but now their arm is in front of them. Well, now they've made their body unnaturally bigger because their hand is in front and the ball's sitting this way. And so it is so painful. So literally you see pictures sent around or like these screen captures, right, of this one thing. And like, how is that not a handball? It's, well, in the opinion of the referee, at that moment in time, their arms were in a natural position and they were not making their body unnaturally bigger. And so I know it's painful for the fans, but let me tell you, it's painful for the referees as well.
Yeah, I get that. I think it is a difficult one, but I also think, like, for example, if I see this picture, but that's exactly what you mean with like the pictures showing this and that. But what just to like go on this point specifically, what would you have given personally on this goal?
So for me, it looks like a handball. it does look like a handball offense, because when you take, there are some guidance in the laws of the game that talk about hands or arms being above the shoulders puts you into a situation where there is likely to be a handball offense. I mean, that's part of the guidance, because, you know, when you're out here, how can you not be making your body, you know, unnaturally bigger?
Exactly.
Because down here, hands to the side, I'm good. You know, I mean, if it hits like this, in the Europa Cup final, okay, crazy. Anthony Taylor was the ref. Players' arms were down in this position. Hits their hand back here. I'm totally good with a no call on that, because their hands are down in a natural position. But when you're out here, oh man, I tell you, unless your hand is here and it's gonna, if it doesn't hit your hand, it's gonna hit your chest. If it gets out here, gosh, I just don't know how you don't call a handball there. So personally, for me, I would say handball, but it wasn't called a handball on the field. And then you have that next level of clearance from the VAR. It's got to be a clear and obvious error. And so if it's not clear and obvious, they stay with the call on the field. So had it been called on a field handball, it would have stayed, no doubt. But since it was not called by the referee, a handball on the field, it's hard to say that it's clear and obvious.
Okay. Well, awesome to hear your opinion on it. I personally think handball, easy, but I get your points totally.
Well, totally. Like, you and I can both sit here and say now, with the views and angles that you and I have, that we think that's a handball. But the referee who's on the field, who has a completely different angle of that play, who doesn't even really see where the hand is, and it's happening so fast, okay, did not see that the arms were extended out away from the body and thought it was a natural occurrence of his body movement at the time. That's in the laws of the game. So I think that's the really tough thing for us, man. It's like, you know, there are all these conditions. I mean, so yes, for us, it looks like a handball, but it didn't for the on-field ref, and it didn't meet the criteria of clear and obvious error for the video assistant referee.
Yeah, I think eventually it's also like we are spectators, so even for football players and referees, we are gonna think we know everything because we see the entire field, all the angles. They won't. So and very few people have actually read the laws of the game to know exactly the language that's in there, or the guidance from IFAB on all these situations. And your videos, I find it fun that you show them up always. So
I try and always point to the laws of the game. It's not, you know, I will say these are the laws, but the laws are always in the opinion of the referee. Yeah. And so everyone's opinion can be a little different.
Yeah. All right. Now let's go to the next question, which is one that's also pretty current, I think. Let's bring it up.
Yeah.
It's the one about Kaka again, from Man United this time. Hey, your team. Should a penalty have been given on Leao's foul on Lozano during the Napoli versus Milan match in the UEFA Champions League? So let me quickly pull up the picture whilst you can already kind of give your opinion.
And I've seen the video of this one again. I'm going to watch it just one more time.
Oh, you're cutting out a little bit.
This one is so tough. I will just say, we've got the Milan player sliding in front of Lozano, not through Lozano. I want to make that point. For me, he is sliding in front of Lozano and makes contact with the ball, a fair and legal challenge. Now, does Lozano trip over him? Yes. But I believe that the defender did enough for me to say that this was a fair and clean challenge and should not be a penalty kick. I think, you know, and this is one, you know, truth that you're going to hear that's not in the laws of the game. In the penalty area, you need to be short. Right? Like, you can't just take a guess that it's a foul. Now, it happens sometimes, but generally as a referee, like, I need to know, like, for a fact, oh yeah, I've got a penalty there. Otherwise, it's like, you know, all ball, clean, not enough for me, guys. Get up, let's go. So I would not call a penalty kick on this one, if I had this angle.
I wonder what the chat will think. So chat, if you guys want to like look up this video, I can't play them in the stream right now, but it's the foul from Leao on Lozano, Napoli versus Milan. And if you guys have seen this, let me know if you guys think it's a penalty or not, because I'm personally like a bit 50-50, and like I'm obviously a noob.
Well, so why do you think it should be a penalty? I'm curious for your reasoning.
So I remember the clip being that he does not eventually touch the ball at all, and he does hit his foot. Like, you can see the impact in his. Like, if he has touched the ball first, I think the challenge is like fine enough to like that he doesn't go in too hard. In my opinion, it's just a fair tackle, but I think he doesn't touch the ball. But like I said, I haven't watched the clip in like a day.
I mean, that is so tough. I mean, yes, I see what you're saying. There's a little touch on the foot, but he definitely gets the ball. And the reason why you know he gets the ball is the angle that the ball takes from the challenge. It's going straight, literally, if his foot is going this way, the ball is going, right ahead of it. So you know he's getting the ball. Is there a millisecond where maybe he gets that foot first? Yes, definitely. But you can completely understand why the referee did not call that a penalty.
I think the chat is all saying no, but obviously they have seen the replays and everything too.
Yeah.
So
I think it's really tough, man.
Yeah,
let me tell you. I mean, like on every single penalty, especially in slow motion. Can we just say that as well?
Yeah.
Like, we are watching these plays from an angle that the referee did not have. Okay. Completely opposite on this play. So the referee is going to be completely opposite this play behind the defender. I think that's so important for your viewers to understand. So the ref is behind the defender's back. That would have been the angle he's taking at that moment in time. So all he sees is that player come in front of Lozano, and he sees the ball go straight ahead as if the defender has hit the ball cleanly.
I get that,
so now you're asking the VAR to be that little bit of touch on Lozano's foot, on Chucky's foot.
Yeah.
Is that enough for that to be a PK?
I get that. I get that's a difficult one, yeah.
I don't think so.
I do agree in that scenario that I can see that happening too. That if I were the referee, I would also for sure not seen half of what they will see.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to give a little grace. To the referees and how hard of a job it is when we as spectators and fans have all these different camera angles and we're slowing things down to 60 frames a second, right? And we can see things that they cannot see. I will tell you, in 60 frames a second, everything looks like a penalty.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I think the most important penalties that have been called in the last, let's say, year, are the ones in the World Cup. And now I think the chat is going to listen up even more now, because this is what they've all been waiting for.
Let's do it.
Are the penalties of Messi in the World Cup, should they have been a penalty in your eyes or not? And we're just going to go all over all 5 of them. So first of all,
one at a time. You list them out. I'm going to pull them up so I've got them on my screen so I can see them.
Oh, all right, awesome. First, I want to throw in a fun fact. This is the World Cup with the most penalties for a single team ever. 5 penalties.
Okay. Okay. Can we stop? Can we stop right there?
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out.
I want to address that. Right there.
Okay.
Okay. The teams who play attacking football with highly talented, highly technical attackers win more penalties than other teams.
I agree.
So whether you are Manchester City and you've got Phil Foden dribbling at you, or you've got Mohamed Salah on Liverpool dribbling at you, they will draw more penalties than other teams. Because they are playing a possession game. They're not doing all of these crosses, and they are dribbling the ball into the penalty area. I once had a player say to me, "Hey, you've given that team 3 penalties. When are you going to give us a penalty?" I was like, well, why don't you try and have possession in your other team's penalty area?
Yeah, of course. You make your
own. And then maybe you can earn a penalty. So you constantly have players like Di Maria or Messi or any of the other great attacking talent on Argentina dribbling the ball into the penalty area. And when you do that, you will draw penalty kicks because people will try and foul them because, they know they're very dangerous in there. As opposed to team who play a lot of crosses or opposed to team who are only playing on the counterattack and they're sitting deep, okay, they are not going to get as many penalties as a team who dribbles the ball into the penalty area. And that is a fact.
I agree. Like a common thing that is being said is the reason that they have so many penalties obviously is because they were favored or anything, but sometimes you also have to get into the position to get the penalties. And even if they were 50-50, they would have the most opportunities to penalties. That already says a lot about the team. But
Yes.
I think the people are getting, like, because I have to show the picture on screen. They want to know the first one against Saudi Arabia.
Okay, let me just pull this up on my side.
I'm also thinking what exactly happened, because I now have the picture, but I feel like the chat will obviously remember. Do you have the video?
Hang on, I gotta pull it up real quick on my
Okay.
side so I can see it.
Awesome.
Hang on 1 second. I wanna.
Okay. Chat, what do you guys think? Was this a penalty or not? The one versus Saudi Arabia. I think a lot of people forget about this one because obviously they lost the game against.
Well, that was a crazy game. I
Yeah.
mean, you talk about insane. Just so exciting and so. I honestly, it was the shock of the tournament, to say the least, was that. And by the way, those 2 goals from Saudi Arabia in that match were outrageous.
Yeah, the second
outrageous.
One. The second
yes,
one
yes,
was
yes.
sick.
Yes. Okay. So I know exactly what the play is. So again, we've got an attacker, Paredes, who's running in the box, and they are pulled down by a defender. I mean, what is there to say? I mean, it's a clear pull of the shirt. Yes. Does Paredes draw the penalty by going down and not staying up? Yes. I mean, I think, today in the Manchester City Nottingham Forest game where Gibbs White drew a red card. Okay. I don't know that a red card would have come out from Anthony Taylor's pocket in that match had Gibbs White not fallen down like he had been shot. So Paredes, how he says it, in the penalty area, he is clearly pulled down by the shirt and he goes down. It's a foul in the penalty area. It's a foul anywhere else in the pitch. It was a foul in the penalty area. It's a penalty.
Do you think it's a light? Do you think it's a light penalty, like that they've given it pretty quick, or do you think it's an obvious one?
I don't know how you don't give it. I mean, if you don't give it, you're saying, hey, anyone else, you can do this, and it's not a penalty.
All right.
I just don't think you can do that. It was very clear. It's caught by all the cameras. It's a penalty kick.
Confirmed, chat. Confirmed. They are saying penalty, not penalty, penalty, not penalty. So
why would it not be? I'd love to know someone's reason to say, okay, you can pull a player down by the shirt and throw them to the ground, and that's not a penalty. It's a foul anywhere else on the field. When it happens in the penalty area, it is a penalty kick. I mean, it's seriously. I mean, like I had a game not too long ago where a corner kick was coming in and defender wasn't going to get it, and attacker was jumping up, and he just 2-hand pushes him in the back. Boom, and the guy just loses his balance and doesn't make it to the header, and beep, I'm calling a penalty on it. He's like, what? I'm like, dude, you pushed him in the back. It's like I saw it. He lost his balance. He couldn't hit it. It's a foul. And he's like, it's light. I'm like, yeah, but it's a foul.
I think
so.
I agree with this one.
It's tough. It was pretty clear.
I think you're right, man. If he does drop him, what else can you say? All right.
Yeah.
Next one might be a little bit more controversial because I think personally I've never seen this happen ever. So the second one is the one there where Messi gets hit in the face by the keeper when he tries to head the ball.
Which game was this?
This is the game against what was it? Poland? Do I say that correct? Poland.
I want to look at this one more time. I remember this. I mean, gosh, I watched so much World Cup, man. It was just like,
Chat,
it was a lot.
Chat, what do you guys think about this one? Because personally, the situation is so weird, man. Yeah. I'm just gonna wait for you to see it.
Oh, these are really tough. So let me just say this. So I'm a goalkeeper. My son's a goalkeeper. Right? So, and I understand that contact happens in the penalty area that is often not penalized. Can we just say that pretty much every single time there's a corner kick that comes in or there's a free kick that comes into the box, there's often contact that maybe if it happened someplace else on the field might be a foul. I think what's interesting about this one is, again, Messi, let's just say this, it's Messi. So all eyes are on Messi, right? I mean, he's very massive player, possibly the biggest player in the world. I'm just going to say, and there's no disrespect to Ronaldo. I love Ronaldo too. But again, it's Messi.
You have to be careful here.
Right. And so if I'm not mistaken, the goalkeeper does not make any contact with the ball. So they do not make what I would consider to be a fair challenge. So sometimes you'll see a keeper come up and they rise above everyone else and they punch the ball away. And as they do, they make contact with the player, possibly even take them out. Well, in that scenario, the goalkeeper has made a fair challenge on the ball. Okay. And yes, there's been contact, but they've been the one fouled because they are the ones making, fair challenge on the ball and have made contact.
Yeah.
In this scenario, Messi is the one who is coming through and has made contact on the ball, and then they are hit by the goalkeeper. Now, it's a foul. Yes. Is it potentially light? Yeah, but I believe he took him out of this play. I mean, knocked him down by hitting him in the face. It's a foul. I mean, you can't deny that there's contact. Was the contact minimal? Yeah, it was minimal. I would say if someone's going to say this is a light penalty, yes, okay. It was light, but definitely feels like it should have been penalty.
It's deserved, all right. Well, he missed this one anyway, so
yep.
I feel like people don't really care about this one at all, but. I would personally also say penalty. Not that I would make the decision.
Yeah, but again, Messi gets to the ball first.
Yeah.
He wins the ball fairly, and then the keeper collides with Messi, taking him out of the play by hitting him in the face.
So the argument for the others is what you already kind of like mentioned. Is like it's almost like this, So it's so little that it's almost like let's say you would like be in a play and you run next to each other and you kind of use your hands to move.
Yep.
And like, is the physicality like between them hard enough that it should be a foul? Because if I can just touch you like this on your shoulder and it's not a foul. That's I think I get that point. Personally, I do still think it's hard enough to be given as a foul. That's
How many times out there you guys been hit in the face though? Let me tell you, someone hits you in the face. I don't care how light it is, and this was coming at pace. I mean, we've got a massive goalkeeper diving across and hitting Messi in the face with a strong hand, right? I mean, these goalkeepers, strong hand, hits him in the face and knocks him down. Is it relatively light? I mean, is it enough to knock someone out? No, but it definitely stopped him from continuing his attack and taking him out of the play. Hence, it's a penalty.
Okay. Well, some people are also saying, do the video when the Pole got 2 yellow cards but not a red. I don't remember this, so maybe we can at the very end. Is this a thing?
Which one? I mean, I know definitely in the World Cup final, could have been Messi. Should have earned a yellow card.
We'll get into that
a couple
later.
Different times. Yes.
I don't remember the one about the Pole. We can maybe look into that after we've done everything. Chat, we can quickly pull it up. But let's first go through all the penalties.
Yep.
The next one is against my country. I think this one we don't even have to talk about too much. It's the one against Holland. Maybe we do actually, because I remember a lot of people also like arguing about this one. Do you have the one in front of you?
I'm trying to pull it up in front of me right here.
Chad, what do you guys think? The penalty against Holland. I think, I'm not sure which Argentina player it was, but they cut inside and they get a little step on the foot. I think it was Dumfries, the Dutch player that does it. And it's penalty. But what do you guys think, Chad? Before we hear it from David. Nah?
Netherlands. Yeah, I mean, again, I'd love to, they could say yes or no, but I want to know why,
Okay, Chad, also give some reasoning.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's their point? I mean, if there's contact and someone gets tripped and they're running at pace in the penalty area, well, why would you not call that a foul? I mean, I think that's the real big thing that you have to be considering as you go through this. It's like you might not like the fact that there was a penalty, and as I was telling Justin, before we got on, I lived in the Netherlands. I mean, I'm a big Dutch fan, no doubt. I mean, I was also excited to see Argentina go on that run, especially considering for Messi and the struggle that he's had, and then also the fact they lose their opening game and they come back and they win. But I think it's just it's one of these things. It's like, I mean, like, I'm looking at it right now. I mean, it's a trip. I mean, the defender is a little bit late getting to the ball, and the attacker is trying to dribble past him, and he would have been completely by him, and winds up, on the cutback, catching his foot, and he goes down. So I mean, it's a foul anywhere else on the field.
So let's see what the people are saying now, because I never thought about asking also for reasoning. That's very smart. Now, because he went with him on purpose, so maybe that he tried to kind of like dive a little bit, I guess. But
Oh my. Okay, listen, guys. Who is not going to try and win a penalty? Okay, let's just say what it is. There is so much incentive to draw a penalty in the game of football. So much incentive, right? Penalties are converted 80% of the time.
me.
So if you have an opportunity to win a penalty because you have, done an outstanding trick, fast footwork to be able to dribble by a defender and they stick their leg out, okay? It's easier to go down than to try and do additional work to try and cross that ball across and hopefully, get a goal. There is a higher expected goal for you to go down with a penalty. Those are the laws of the game. So don't tell me that any of you sitting out there have a chance to score a goal for your country in the World Cup and you're not going to go down when you've been tripped in the penalty area. You bet your ass you will. You bet your butt you will go down. So please don't tell me you won't.
All right. Only Jigit MrGoat says he won't. Everyone else doesn't say anything.
Of course you will. Of course you will.
All right. Yeah, I think it's also like he does touch him and he does kind of go for it. Like you said, why wouldn't you like kind of go like with that movement? If you can't get the ball afterwards anymore and you can get a penalty, obviously everyone will do it.
They do it. I hate it. I mean, as a referee, it's awful. I can't even tell you. I mean, I've only called simulation 2 times and I have reffed over 1,200 games. 1,200 games and I've only called simulation twice because it's hard. I mean, if you see someone, you hear it, I've got contact, I've got a player who's tripped, they have gone down in the penalty area, or they've gone down anywhere, okay, I've got a foul, and I've got to make that call. And if I don't make that call, and it legitimately is a trip, well, I'm going to be, held accountable. I mean, I'm going to be lambasted as a horrible referee. Yeah. So, you might feel, it shouldn't be a call, but the laws of the game say that's a trip. There's contact. They're in the penalty area. It's a penalty kick.
I think some people, but I sometimes do feel like they want to see this because they maybe don't like Messi Argentina. Say there was no contact, but I think there was. I definitely was some.
Looks like there's pretty clear contact, guys.
I think so too. But this one, the fourth one, which is against Croatia, out of mad. So I remember when this happened, I had some people messaging me because we're just talking about football, whatever, and they said. They don't really care about Messi or Ronaldo at all, and they were just watching this game because obviously it's the semi-finals, and they were saying, "Oh, but that Messi does that penalty was never a penalty, right?" And I looked at it, and their reason was because the keeper couldn't move, and everyone in Holland hated Argentina at this point, right? Everyone in Holland hated Argentina and Messi.
God, okay. I know this play very well, so I'm just gonna stand up again. The Argentinian player runs in, pokes the ball past. Yeah. The keeper kind of steps out like this to make his body bigger, and the Argentinian player goes flying over him. Am I correct? Is that the play?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the argument is like the keeper stood on his spot, but he couldn't. How can he get out of the way? But
the keeper came out, made their body bigger. Steps out in front of the attacker and trips the attacking player. I mean, I don't know how. You could say that the keeper standing still. The keeper certainly wasn't standing in the goal, in the goal mouth, standing still. No. They come rushing out. They get big, okay? They put their leg out wide, and they wind up tripping the on-rushing attacker. That is what happened there. Yes, again, if you want to look at a still frame image and say, oh, the keeper's standing still. They didn't magically get teleported to that spot. They came running out, getting big, okay, put their big, massive goalkeeper legs out there, big Dutchman, big Dutch dude. I think that guy was gigantic. He was like 6'7", right?
And I think this wasn't this the one against Croatia still.
So I'm sorry, I'm thinking Dutch. I went to Dutch.
Yeah, yes, you just give me a compliment. It's okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, but whatever. I mean, goalkeeper, they're big guys. They come out, they get big. I mean, he got big. He got in front of the attacker, he tripped him. I know it's not a sliding challenge. But it's still a trip. Yeah. And I don't know how it couldn't be.
Yeah, I agree. I think this one, to me, it was pretty clear. But like I said, everyone in Holland hated Argentina at this point, so all I could hear was everything but Argentina, this was wrong. So, the people in the chat were saying they meant Paredes, the one where they didn't get 2 yellow cards. We will go into that later. That's the one where shot in the
we'll look
dugout.
at that one. Yep.
We're gonna go to the last penalty and then we're gonna go into some other topics, chat.
Yep.
And the reason why we are mentioning the World Cup and like rigging and everything, because obviously the channel is about Messi, Ronaldo, so we just wanna like have the opinions of a real referee if it's what was actually rigged or not, chat. Alright. The last one was against France, the World Cup final. What a final it was. And it was the one where Dembele tripped. Was it Di Maria? And he also got substituted before the first half. I don't know if it was because of this or because he played trash or he was injured, but I found that funny.
Yeah, I mean it's a trip.
This one isn't even that.
It's like when you're running at pace. I mean, go do this with your friends sometime. Have them be running in front of you, and you just clip the back of their foot as they're running.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're going to go down.
Yeah.
They're going to go down. I mean, that is what happens when you're running at pace. And again, this is one of these things where it's like, is that player going to, fall down had they not had that contact from behind? No. He's going into the penalty area at pace. He beat his defender, and the defender gets up behind him and winds up clipping his leg. Yeah. What are you going to do? I mean, like, it's a foul. It's a trip, guys. It was clear. And again, this is another one of these situations where we've got an Argentinian player who is dribbling the ball into the penalty area at pace. They are very difficult to defend. And it's just any player running into the penalty area at pace who has the ability to make people miss is going to draw more penalties than other teams. It is what it is. It's a clear one for me. I know it's upsetting, but it is what it is.
The thing is, France got 2 penalties in this game, so I don't hear anyone talking really about this penalty. And it was pretty obvious, I think, this one. So
yeah,
I also don't see a lot of people arguing with this. Some people are saying
what an amazing game, and would people really be crying about this if Kolo Muani scored that last second goal,
of course.
On Martinez and extra? No, we wouldn't even be talking about this. But Argentina won, so people are like, "Oh, it's rigged." It's like, no, man, it was an amazing game. It was extremely well officiated. Top referee in the world. It's just, come on, guys. Let's just try and be honest about this. It's hard making these calls. They happen in split seconds. Referee on the field thought it was a penalty. It's not going to be overruled as a clear and obvious error. It is what it is. Let's move on.
In my opinion, also, like, I'll go into it a bit more later, but even if the referees make mistakes, like, mistakes don't equal rigging, Like, football has been so old. How many mistakes have we seen? It's not always, like, rigged. And even if, like, this is one topic that I could honestly be like, okay, well, this, in my eyes, either you can change my mind or whatever. But this is the one about Paredes. Maybe you have the clip in front of you, or do you remember?
I'll pull it up. Yep, go for it.
Okay, so this is the one where Paredes tackles, I think, who is it, Ake, and people are saying this. I think he got a yellow card for this moment.
Yeah.
And he also
right
after he shoots the ball into the dugout, or like where everyone sits of Holland, and they all come running out, and then this and that happen. And Virgil van Dijk puts body chest in one of the players.
Yes.
Should this have been? And I do think this should have been a red card. Should he have gotten a red card in your opinion? And what do you think about this?
Yeah, I agree. I think this was worthy of 2 yellow cards adding up to a red card. I think if you just look at, I'm just saying, if you look at the plays in isolation, okay, and not in a World Cup final, okay, you would say the tackle was yellow card worthy, and then the kicking the ball. I don't know that he was specifically kicking it at the Dutch bench, but blasting the ball out of bounds when it's not your free kick, when it's the other team's free kick, for me, that would be delaying the restart of the game. Yeah. And I definitely can appreciate and understand why people would have liked to see 2 yellow cards and a red card given. I don't think it was red card worthy, the kick of the ball to the bench. I don't think there was anything intentional or malicious in that, but it's definitely delaying the restart of the game when you kick that ball out of bounds like that. Now, let's go back to where we started this conversation. Okay? These are match control devices, these yellows and red cards. Okay? The question now is this, and I know this is going to upset people, and they're going to say rigged, 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 but when you are reffing these massive matches, you know, there is an incentive of the referee to try and keep the game 11v11 and keep everyone on the pitch if you can. You know, we want it to be competitive. The referee doesn't want to be the center of the tension, the person who's necessarily deciding the outcome of a game. So, I mean, there is somewhat of an incentive, I will say, for entertainment purposes to try and keep everyone on the pitch. You know, to the letter of the law, should this have been 2 yellow cards? Yes. I think that argument stands, and I definitely think he could have been sent off here. Was it probably a better match, you know, 11v11 and more exciting, keeping him on the pitch? Yes, but that's going to make people upset. They're going to be like, oh, you should just ref to the letter of the law. Listen, we never ref exactly to the letter of the law. Everything is taken into context. What's going on? What's the situation? Where are we in the match? How many fouls have I given to one team or another? I mean, seriously, because you don't want to seem like you're being biased. Those are all things that are kept, you know, in mind. I think we saw one of the greatest World Cup final matches ever played. Probably one of the greatest World Cup games ever played. And would that still have happened had that guy gotten 2 yellows there? I don't know. So it's tough. I totally appreciate people who are going to be upset about this, but I also understand the referee in that moment just going, okay, I'm going to give one caution here and tell him, don't do that crap again.
There's like another big moment in this game with Messi's handball. But first I want to just ask, like, this referee I think was banned later on from being the referee in La Liga. And I don't know if I assume you watched the Netherlands versus Argentina game live. I'm not sure.
I did.
What did you like in Holland? There were a lot of angry people after this game. Let's just say that. Just because this referee and a lot of players have actually on both sides like been angry at this referee.
Yes.
I'm just like curious. Obviously, I'm like you said, like being understanding for referees and everything. Yeah. But when it's like this, like when so many people are angry at it, but what does that make you feel like, and like what do you think about it?
Yeah, no, I can understand. I mean, I don't think this guy had a good game. Let's just say that. I mean, there certainly was no match control. He did wind up, it's Lahuz, right? Lahuz, I think it's Lahuz, yeah. He did wind up retiring from international after this, and he wound up retiring from Spanish football at the end of this past season. This game definitely got away from him. It was way too feisty, way too many challenges, not penalized. And it got out of control. Yeah. I will just say, as a referee, like sometimes I'll see it happen and it's so painful. Like I'll be watching the match and you can just tell that the emotions of the match have gone well beyond what that referee could handle or what's appropriate, and it gets ugly. I mean, let's say also too, he did hand out 18 yellow cards in the match. So it's not that he wasn't trying, but I mean, this thing was heated.
I mean, that doesn't make it.
It was
like,
crazy.
I think that's one of the reasons, like, where so many people got upset, because, like we said at the start, like when I had like a problem on the field and I was gonna talk to you about it, you could kind of like sense. You can kind of sense the sort of referee you have, that they kind of like let you talk or like listen to you or respect you back. I feel like this referee was one, but I noticed is. You talk to me, that's why the next point with Messi's yellow card, I think the yellow card that Messi got in that game was because he was talking to the referee. And that's why people with the handball are saying that should have been his second yellow card. But the first one was given because he was talking about, I think, the same...
Yeah, it's interesting. So can we talk about the handball for a second?
Yeah, I'll put that
so he got one yellow card for dissent in the game. The second one, a handball, even an intentional handball, is not necessarily a yellow card offense. Like when you look through the cautions, like of the yellow cards, I don't know if you guys can see this on the card, but when I look down my cautions, you know, I've got one for dissent, persistent infringements, delaying the restart, even unsporting behavior. There's nothing in the laws of the game that say intentional handball is a yellow card. Now, there is something in the laws of the game that says if you have a handball to stop a promising attack, well, that would be a yellow card offense. But this was not. I mean, it was kind of a lazy kind of play. He was in the middle of the field.
His entire team was behind him.
Yeah, so we're not stopping a promising attack. So it's not a clear yellow card offense. It's a handball, yeah, but it's not a yellow card offense necessarily. So I think that's something where people think, oh, it was an intentional handball. It's a yellow card. Yeah, there's nothing in the laws of the game under handball that says intentional handball, yellow card. If it was stopping a promising attack, certainly, but that's not what happened here.
Just to summarize, so when you actually stop a promising attack by making a handball, it should have been a yellow card, but now because it's
That's
like
right.
halfway line, the entire team is behind him.
Yes.
There's nothing dangerous going on. He touched the ball, he stops play. Well, you get a
Yep.
free kick and you move on. That's your
Yeah,
plan.
so whether it was a handball and he did mean it or handball and he didn't mean it, it doesn't matter. There's nothing in the laws of the game that say that's a yellow card.
Okay. I think these are the main questions about like the main topics, the penalties and the Argentina like controversial topics. So just to summarize,
Yep.
most of the penalties you said were deserved and some you said were maybe light, but you can definitely see that this was just being given as a penalty. You don't see anything weird with that. Then the Paredes, I guess the Paredes moment is the only moment that you were like, that should have been 2 yellow cards and a red card.
Oh yes, agreed. Yeah, no, 1,000%. I think there's, I don't know how any referee who knows the laws of the game. I mean, my son and I, when we were watching that match, we were both like, how is that guy still on the pitch? I say that to the laws of the game, he should have been received his second yellow card. But as a fan of the game, I'm also like, man, and also a referee, I understand why they didn't go yellow card there, because they were trying to keep it 11v11 and make it a competitive, fair match, and
That's
not have the
the motive.
referee's decision be the center of the attention.
I get what you mean, but yeah, I do think everyone, even like on the Messi side of people, do agree that. Nah, they don't want to agree, but secretly I think they do agree that this should have been a red card.
Absolutely, okay. I agree. 2 yellows. Let's say not a straight red, 2 yellows adding up to a red card. Yeah.
Okay, well there you have it, chat. I mean, that's like the biggest one I think also has been asked in the chat. I would just quickly want to like. Me personally, I think people would also kind of like my opinion on if the World Cup was rigged or not, but I've never really said it. Chat, I want to just give some arguments for why I think it's not. Why would they lose the first match? Why would they, against Holland, get 11 minutes extra time and Holland scores in the 11th minute? Let's say you are trying to rig a match, right? And your team that you have to let win is 2-1 ahead. Why would you give them 11 minutes extra time? Like, in France, against France, they get 2 penalties against them. Chat, I think personally, what I said at the start somewhere, referees can make mistakes, also still human. It's football. Yeah. Look in the entire history of football, mistakes happen. I think mistakes did happen. The one against Paredes, I think, is a mistake that could have maybe led Argentina to not win the World Cup. I am completely fine to admit that. But to think that equals that it was rigged, I think you guys are wrong. Personally, I don't think it's rigged.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would love to do some research, and I think everyone should. It's like, how many shots were missed in the World Cup by players?
Yeah, I don't know.
How many shots? How many passes were missed by players in the World Cup? Even penalties. How many penalties were missed by players in the World Cup? I mean, games are won and lost by the players on the field, and that is the fact. And even if you lose 1-0 and it was, or 1-0 and it was a penalty kick awarded, you had 90 minutes. They probably took 15 or 20 shots on goal and didn't convert any of them. Blaming the referee for one decision they made when you had 90 minutes and you had 700 passes and you had 20 shots, opportunities to score, and you didn't score, by blaming the referee, you're just not taking personal accountability and living in reality. To think that this was rigged with the amount of technology and the cameras that we have today is ludicrous. You are on the crazy train. Come back into reality and
Be careful
accept.
now.
No, I'm serious. It's a big thing. Dude, Argentina won because they put more balls in the back of the net through the actions they took on the field. That's what happened.
I think it's mainly the people that just also didn't like Argentina to win that think it's rigged in the professional world. The players themselves, no one. I have one person that said that the World Cup was maybe rigged. It was Louis van Gaal, the Dutch coach. But he's if you're Dutch, you know how Louis van Gaal can be.
Trust me. I know the Gaal very well.
Okay.
Yes. I loved it. All right, man. Well, that was a great talk, man. Well,
Yeah.
if you ever want to do it again, let me know. I'm happy to answer questions and happy to provide insight.
Awesome. Maybe after the Copa America, if Messi wins,
Yeah.
or if Ronaldo wins the Euros, we can talk if that was rigged or something. But yeah, I want to thank
that
you a
would be
lot.
great.
It was a lot of fun.
My pleasure.
Chat, make sure to follow RefsNeedLoveToo.
Please.
I'll put it somewhere later in my YouTube community, and I'll shout you out a little bit because I'm grateful for you, spending some time educating the people if the World Cup was rigged or not.
No problem, man. My pleasure.
Alright, awesome. Chat, I'll maybe play some FIFA later on, but we're gonna end the stream for now. Again, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye!
Later. Doei. Dag.
Doei!